Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Hello, YouTube. I'm doing this YouTube video on Twitch, and I will be doing this for the rest of the series. I don't know when I'm going to be posting the next videos for this, but you will be able to catch them more often if you come by and follow at Twitch. Same as the username here on YouTube. Anyway, let's get into today. This is going to be a 4-part at least, possibly a 5th if I add a finale to it. This is going to be a 4 or 5-part series. This is part 1, of course. We will be discussing and going over a system I have developed in around the 15,000 hour mark range of playing competitive FPSs, studying and trying to achieve the highest ranks that I can. I started back in 2016, and I've put 15,000 hours since then, which that plus sleep has accounted for about 60% of my life. And it's not all in vain. I have gotten some money. I have done well at some tournaments and made some connections. I'm not quite what I would say a professional player just yet, because I haven't made my daily living out of it, but I have made money. And I figured I would finally share some information. I've taken a break recently because of some real life stuff. Just big events, nothing bad. Actually, some of the best life events I've had in a while. So I'm very happy for it. It's going to be an exciting future. And it hopefully will bring more YouTube content and Twitch content. That is part of the goal, is to actually just be myself and be out here making videos and enjoying my time, possibly building a community. Who knows? But today, part 1 of the 4-part series, we are talking about competitive FPS games. And when I say by competitive, I mean FPS games that have any sort of esports backing to it, big or small. A lot of people, when you hear esports, will think the big games and the big games only. We're going to be talking about Call of Duty, Fortnite. Oh, yeah, the big ones. Yep, we will. And we will also be talking about games that I have played more of. Apex Legends, a very fun game. Not really, but it does have a surprisingly competitive player base. Apex Legends, Overwatch, rip Overwatch, not Overwatch 2, not worrying about that right now. I haven't kept up too much with it, but all of this is to be a part of fundamentals of any game that has a gun, basically. Hopefully I'm long enough into the video now that I just didn't demonetize and derail the entire thing. But anything that has shooting or PvP based shooting, could be Splitgate, it could be Spellbreak for the ones who remember that, Realm Royale for all I care. Whatever game you are playing that has PvP and pew-pewing. Oh, thank you, YouTube. If you got PvP and pew-pew in a game, you will see a lot of similar things over time. Even back in the days, if you're as old as I am, to remember Sky Wars, and of course everyone's absolute favorite of Hunger Games, old school Minecraft motherfuckers will know. All of these games have similarities when it comes to anything. It's more specifically with these two, the bows. But you can apply this to any game that has PvP and a relatively fair system about it. Something that isn't just outright broken. And even in those games where there are things that are just outright broken, this is still applicable. And we're going to start it off by breaking down what I like to call the 149 system. 149. These are all individual numbers. The very mathematically quick individuals have already noticed the pattern of the number squared is applied, but that is irrelevant. We're not using this for math quite yet. We might in the future. I'm just bad at math. But let's break it down. Starting with 1. First step is the 1 of the 149. Whenever you get into a fight, our goal is pretty much in order of the overall system to simplify. Why do we simplify? Why do this? The biggest reason is we want to measure out our mistakes. If you make a mistake, making a mistake is fine. Doing nothing from that failure is a waste of time. We are always trying to figure out what we messed up, because in all of these games that I've played, in the 15,000 hours of gaming, studying, coaching, competing, in tournaments, practicing, drilling myself, understanding and practicing with teammates 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, the communicating the strategy inside and outside. The number one thing you can do to always make yourself better is maximize your uptime. Do as much stuff as possible. Every second, do something. If you are bored, move on to something else, but do not leave the goal. The number one goal is self-improvement and to become better, because we are the only measurable factor in the next 10,000 games we play. All right. Everything else is a variable and might be irrelevant. We can't know for certain. So we focus entirely on knowing everything we can and learning in every single way. How do we learn in every single way, and how do we make this more beneficial for ourselves? We measure our mistakes. It's easier to simplify if the question is a yes or no. Because in any situation where you need to get information quickly out of either yourself or other people, the best thing we can do is the most natural thing. Divide it in half. The 1 is the first step. We simplify. We take it all the way down to a measurable level. We put everything into, I believe they're called Boolean statements. I might be, yes, they are Boolean statements. I get that mixed up with Barnum statements, very different things. Boolean statements. I'd have to double check actually that it's correct. But in the essence of a Boolean statement in programming, you want to make it a this or that. And you want to make sure that it is never too complicated to try to have a system figure it out. If you break it down to every single step, this is something I did. I programmed JavaScript. If you can't tell, it was a horrible time. You have to put down every single little thing. So the best way to do it is simplifies it. This or that, yes or no, true or false. And by making it true or false, we can create a more effective system of measurement, and thus we now have the full thing. Now, you might be thinking, how is that the full thing, right? How is making it simple doing it all? It is and it isn't. Making it simple makes it measurable. Making it measurable means we can take the next step. We've solved everything, so we must move on to the next thing. This is only step 1. And we're not even done with step 1. This is setting up step 1. But we've set that up. we now move into what is the simplest form when you add up all of the tiny variables, guns, abilities, English is my first language, but I'm just bad at writing, so if anything is spelt wrong, ignore it, you know what I mean. Think professor at a blackboard, it's not about being perfect, it's about getting the message out to you. Guns, abilities, movement, sight, all of these things are tiny little details added to the game that this is a more generalized look of it, but if you measure out all the little details, there are fundamentally correct things that you do in a game. We are not focused on maximizing here. This is what you do. This is mechanics. All of these are mechanics. These are things you gain information by inputting some sort of command into the system. If I look around, I am using sight. If I hit WASD or use my controller, I have movement, the abilities, the guns. I do not provide that. The game provides that to me. There are correct ways to use these. These vary between every single game. If you're playing if you're playing Apex, movement and guns and abilities, all very important things. You can pretty much see everything. There's a lot of characters that you can get wall hacks through. Sova in Valorant, I don't know any of the new people to be confident in that. Sova, Cypher in Valorant provide sight as like free actions or pre-set up actions. All of these mechanics, right? These are provided by the game that we gain through the game's information, giving it to us. We put down the ability, we get X. All of these, another thing is cooldowns. And then things like ults and passives as well are also in this. These things, I'm not talking about these today. These are irrelevant to the conversation I'm trying to have. What I'm actually trying to point out is the thing that is separated from this, the fundamentals of the gunfight itself, not about each game's details. So, what else is there, right? If we have all of these things, what isn't in this list, right? Rules. You might be thinking, oh, but there's rules programmed into the game. Yes, there are. Oh, but these rules, I can't pick this gun in this matchup. Yes, those rules exist, but that's where it's a bit of a gray area, but it's irrelevant to what we're talking about here. Rules are sets of measurements. Like in the conversation about everything else, objectives, the OBJ, I should probably move that a little bit. The OBJ, right? This here is separated from what we're talking about as well. This is not related to our conversation, but we're not throwing it away with the other stuff. We're putting it to the side because this determines something about this. So keep the objective in the back of your mind, which is also coincidentally the rule you want to have 24/7, no matter what game you are playing. You are using these 1v1 mechanics, this isolation, this 149 system to create it's a tool. You're creating the best situation that you can by keeping yourself in line with playing the best you can. And which is also amplified through self-improvement. If you're working on trying to improve yourself, you will then notice how to improve. It's looking at it, you can see it. Almost like an object permanent sort of thing. So keep a picture of this in your mind if you have to. Write it off to the side, but always remember the objective. Why are you fighting? Why are you using this tool? If we're not talking about the objective, though, what was the thing we were talking about setting up to in the 1? The 1 is the first rule, it's the first step, and it's the easiest way to measure. You are one person. What is the maximum to equal strength of 1? 1. What does that mean? 1v1s. Rule number 1 is isolate ones. That's the first rule. Right here. This one. Isolate ones. This should always be possible by playing cover. And it's not just creating isolated steps in the macro and the micro, but this is all micro conversation, by the way. That will be important later, talking about macro and micro. Not important now. 1v1. The maximum power you can have against somebody else while not putting yourself at detriment is 1-1. You can take out one person. This also keeps it as simple as possible so that you can isolate mistakes. Because if you're fighting 2 people, it adds twice the amount of variance, which we don't want to deal with because that's a lot more math. Because once you do that, that's doubling it. Not what we want to do. Too much information at a time. Keep it simple. 1v1s. Isolating ones. Isolating a target and using that target to obtain the objective. That's remembering the objective. We're not affecting it with, we're not measuring how much we affect it, but we are affecting it, and we're trying to get the most effective thing for the objective. So isolate the ones, find the right target. There is a right target that's based around each game. We are not talking about which target. No, not doing it. We are talking about how to target. So 1v1s, isolating them. Done by the game's abilities and cooldowns, the rest of it, the stuff we don't care about. How many people are here? There are 2 people. We've looked at everything in the 1v1 category. We've isolated all the ones. Now we move to 2 being the next step. But it's 149. Where's the 2? Where is it? It's right here. It's the 1 plus the 1. You versus your opponent. 2 people in a gunfight. Always remember that. 2 people in a gunfight. Now, 2 people in a gunfight means that there are now 2 elements of variance. How you normally would move, which we will call taking one action. And actions are determined based off each game, and not necessarily applicable, but actions are things that can be done within a set of time frame that is an opening of a window in gunfights, right? If you get 5 seconds of breathing room, how do I utilize this 5 seconds most effectively? This is, instead of saying, oh, this 5 seconds could be used to heal, and this, we just make it, how do I put one thing into this time most effectively, and then have it set for how much time we have open, right? Like, that's what we're looking for. But you have one action, 5 seconds. You know, it doesn't have to be 5. It depends on the game. You're going to have to tweak this yourself, and it's how you look at it for your own benefit, right? You look at what you can do in that set of time. One action, and one action should always be done. Passing an action out of combat is not always a bad thing, though. Okay? It depends on the game you're playing. So we're not going to go into the value of it because that's different. But passing an action, OOC, out of combat, is not always a negative thing. But for the sake of fighting and knowing that we are talking about fighting and fighting alone, we will consider passing as base bad. Like, this is a bad thing to do. This is just a general rule. This is not always true. And you will see how it becomes effective later. This will be like a part 3, part 4 thing. But we're sticking to setting up a part 1 right now. But we'll consider passing to be bad, just as a base rule. So we're talking about actions. We will always assume one action is used, meaning that you are always doing something. So we're aiming for 100% uptime, right? As we talked about earlier. So one action is always used, right? That is what we are our aim. That is the most effective thing we can do. If we don't know what's happening, if we have no information, we are approaching the something we will talk about later, known as the U. Okay. This is, but we're doing things. We exist, we do things. Because if you sit down, you're a sitting duck. Every moment you sit, you're at risk of being punished for sitting, right? And that's passing an action. So we've simplified it. We had 2 things. That's another part of the 2 things. But how do we turn that into a game? How do we apply this to the shooting part? In a 1v1, we have a grid. We will talk about, I should actually move some of this. Hold on. Us being our perspective, the things we control. Them, every other player. This is not just NPCs, but it can be used against NPCs. It's just good fundamentals. And then we have up here, we're going to say K and U. Unknown is U. Known is K. So, known, unknown, known, unknown. If we are in the unknown, that means something is happening to us. This is reacting. Your favorite React streamers, they sit in the unknown category. But no, reacting. Whenever something happens to you, it is unknown. It comes across to you, it affects you, now it is known. Known, this is the same as thinking. As long as you're thinking, you are knowing, you are using this. How do you properly think in a video game? You intake information. You might be saying that's reactive. You are not just intaking it, you are searching for it. Searching for info. That is what we are doing. That is what the known is. This is what we are doing. Going down. This is what they are doing. Going over there. Known. Known. I am attacking this person. I know, based on X factor of the video game, what they are doing. The known on this part is we know too. Sometimes we know before they even know. Us attacking them. Known, unknown. We know what we're doing. We don't know what they're doing. this plus this is we do X, they do question mark. We have no idea what they do. That is known unknown. It is very, very simple. We know what they're doing. We don't know what they're doing. This is where you're going to find most of the situations if you're thinking 24/7, if you're trying to be, if you have good uptime. If you have bad uptime, we enter the unknowns. Unknown. Oh my goodness. Known. This part. Going after this part. What does that look like? I'm trying to think of a real juicy situation to absolutely make you aware of the fact that if you don't know something and they know something, or you know what they're going to do, that means you are in a brawl, or there's a bunch of other kind of names for it. I'm trying to find the right word for it. But you're in a brawl. It's messy. Someone says a fight was messy. This is what they mean. Whoever was attacking wasn't entirely sure how to attack, but they knew what the other person was going to do. This is still manageable, but it's messy. It's sloppy. This is the fighting that a lot of good trades could have happened, but a lot of bad trades happened. Someone missed this, another person missed this, but it both opened up windows and they attacked that correctly, but they both missed their attacks again. So it was sloppy. It was just they both did X, it didn't work. They both did Y, it didn't work. It's like a rock paper scissors game, but you just keep like it's not a mind game. You just keep throwing the rock over and over and over and over and over, and no one's changing. And that's how it goes. It's a sloppy game. There's no thought behind it. It's not outplaying. It's just fucking slamming the button until it works. Button mashing, things like that. But knowing that if someone's going to attack you in X fashion, but you're button mashing, that sort of situation. So if you're ever in a sloppy fight, you are in an unknown, known territory. I left this over here, and it's going to stay over here. Unknown, unknown. Unknown. Does what it says on the tin. Nobody knows. Examples of this: say you're playing Call of Duty. You turn the corner and you're suddenly kissing the dude that was also turning the corner from the other team. Unknown, unknown. You just both ran into each other. You both missed something. Accident. That's that's just where it happens. That's just how things go sometimes. You can avoid this by knowing where you're going. This part is controllable. You can either do this or that. You can't. This is not up to you. Right? That's why it's called them, us, the things that we can't control. It's here. If you're not in here, you avoid this. Because these are just gambles. These are 50-50s. These are at best 50-50s. You know, these are lost. Because if you run into anything with a bonus variable on top of it, which most of the time you're going to be running into that because you weren't paying attention, you're gone. It's over. It's done. You're going to just assume that you're dead. So, staying out of the unknown, playing in the known. This is the good path. But notice something. This is where the 4 comes in the 149. There are 4 possible answers. KK, KU, UK, UU. Remember what I said on the first one? UU. It's the unknown unknown. You can't control this. And in the sake of trying to always do something, this is the worst outcome of these 4, so we avoid it at all costs. So we try to always know things. We're trying to always improve things. If we don't know this step, we lose value because we make mistakes. But these are also the most important. Anytime you run into something you didn't know, it's important to look into it and learn about it. because then you don't run into it. So when you keep this system going, eventually you'll know almost everything you need to know about the game because you've been sitting and learning about it. Every time it's you put it up to a K, you make it known. You understand it bit by bit. Anything, oh, I didn't know that happened. Cool. Why is that? Ask that question. Boom. Anytime you ask a question, no stupid questions. You might find stupid answers and people are going to judge you for it. But you will learn a hell of a lot quicker. And if you don't care what other people think, next thing you know, boom, boom, boom. You are learning at a faster pace because you're the only isolated variable, right? Now, if other people are saying this is how something works, try to listen to it, right? And then test it. And if you can't figure it out, talk to them about it. They're not always right. They're not always wrong. Um, you don't know. That sits in the UU category. You don't. It's an unknown because we had to step into an unknown, add an unknown variable. That's too many unknowns. We can't measure that. So don't worry about it. Don't think about it. It doesn't matter. We'll get to it when we come to it. This system's supposed to help you get there. So flip it to knowns. Anytime you don't know something, learn something. But these are the 4 quadrants. Now, where the hell does 9 come into? Out of all of that, where does the number 9 come into all of it? Where is it? Well, we cut unknown. That's gone. Off the script. He's out of here. He's gone. But why? Always ask those questions. Because we can't measure it. Talked about it. So why are we measuring the other 3? And why is it separated into 3? Well, anytime you step forward and try to ask more questions, we've taken that 1, right? Split it into 2 parts and asked kind of 2 questions with it. When you go to 3 parts, you got to ask 3 questions. When you go to 4 parts, you got to ask the 4 questions, right? Because every answer provides another question if you look for it. So we're going to keep this simple. We'll go to 3, keep it like 1, 2, 3. And we break it down. We divide it each time into each separate part. And then we add it all together because this is just one little thing that helps with the objective. Remember that. We're talking about the objective here. Not about it, but about how we can affect it more effectively. Trying to get better at this by using this tool. Don't forget that. If there's anything to take away, it's that your number 1 thing you should learn with FPS games is that it's about the objectives. Because getting kills in a lot of games does not equal wins. And oftentimes, it's something that getting kills helps with. So, we're using kills to get help with taking the objective. So, kills do not equal wins. Get this through your head. I know I just put it down and I've erased it and I've just put it back down again. But if there's anything to get across in 15,000 hours of playing these games, having the most kills does not always mean you win the most. Oftentimes, to be completely frank, those people don't win the most. They have some of the lower win rates because they're trying to get the most out of their time. They want kills. For them, kills equals time. For them, kills equals win. Because if they get 10 kills an hour, right? And they play 15,000 hours, right? They have 150,000 kills. And big number equal more win. Big number more win. It's high score. It's chasing a point total. And if you're like, yeah, but is that really competitive games? Yeah. You want to know the number 1 competitive game about just scoring points? It's a lovely game called Tetris and has one of the craziest world championships ever. And there's a 17-year-old in like the last 2 years who actually has done something that no one has done on Tetris before. And have a perfect game. I bet you didn't even know there was a perfect game for Tetris. But like if you compete, if you apply this understanding, these tools to games, you can be good at anything. And to find techniques like that, you just need to measure yourself and make yourself a better player, right? Be aware of the things. So back to the nine. How do we take this three part section and break it down and ask three questions? Simple. We have three parts. Known, known. Known, unknown. Unknown, known. And if you ever need help, by the way, trying to read these things, you always do you first, them second. You, them. You, them. Known, known. Do I know it? Did I know what they were doing? Did I know it? Did I know what they were doing? Did I know it? Did I know what they were doing? And if it's you, too many variables. Throw it in the bin. And we want as few of those as possible because we want the most amount of progress. Because we're trying to learn more, to become better, to get the objective more often. We're breaking it down literally from the objective of the game all the way down to every little detail. Known, 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 unknown, unknown, known. You got to get used to hearing that from me. It's gonna be lock in because we're gonna be saying unknown and known a lot. Take it. No, don't make this a drinking game. It'll kill you. So and I love my viewers and I don't want any harm to them because they're beautiful people. All right. Where's my notes page? I've skipped a page or two. Oh, yes. Actually, before we throw the unknown away, sorry. We're not throwing it away. I apologize. We're putting it to the side. We have put it aside for a reason. If you get a positive trade, which is anytime you gain resources of the game. Remember, those are the other things. That's why I said hold on to them. Yeah. Just plus resources for you and negative or neutral resources for them. Them. Plus us resources, negative or equal resources for them. Basically, if we get ahead of them in some capacity. Any unknown trade, remember us and them. This is the basis of the next part of our formula and what we talk about. But this here is called luck. Slash, what did I put? I think it's adaptability. Or no, reading. Reading. Reads. It's either luck or reads. Reads are anything that you use as like a false resource. Where let's say you're on a LAN and you're facing your opponent and your opponent's parent just died. And they're very sad and they're probably playing poorly. And then you look at them and go, I'm going to target you and really piss you off so that you play worse. And you gain resources out of that. That's a read, right? And it's also a bit lucky because some of them would be absolutely locking the fuck in and just melting your shit because you're trying to do that. You give them a reason to be angry. So you have to be careful because it's luck, but it can be a read. You know, if you know the person, if you think you've seen it before, you can get something out of it. That's not just with people, too. That can be you've seen this, loadout of character and gun, like in Apex Legends or Call of Duty. They have a certain set of skins and guns, and you go, oh, yeah, they're going to be rushing the meta at us. and you know what the meta is, you can then use that. It takes an unknown and turns it into a known. And then this whole situation's avoidable because we've moved it into a different spot. And be honest, when it's lucky, it's lucky. Luck, by the way, is never mechanical. This is somewhat controversial to say. For the sake of this kind of formula and understanding in our ego, we do that to boost it because there's no reason not to. You don't brag about it because you know it's lucky, but because we are always pushing for positive uptime, for putting everything in the known, when it goes to the unknown, what we have practiced is taking unknowns and turning them into knowns. And by turning them into knowns, we've become more adaptable and flexible when unknown things hit us. So whenever mechanics work and you get lucky, whenever it's a win, a luck is still a win. And whenever you win, it's good to celebrate. It's okay to celebrate. Don't always brag about it. It's just because it's something like that. But oftentimes, some of the best clips are when you have luck, you recover, and you do something awesome out of it, because that's a sign of mastery. So luck and reads are never considered mechanical. But they're luck, right? It's not up to us, and we want to avoid that. So it's a sign of being in. It's kind of like if you lose your first game in a double elimination tournament, and then you go really deep into the run. It's like you still had a lot of skill, but you had some bad luck or bad reads, or you sucked at whatever. Something happens, things like that go. But it's the same idea. So, we've talked about that. The other three. Known. That's a little too big. Hold on. Known. Known, unknown. Unknown, known. All of these, by the way, are in the order of like what's most optimal. And how we break this down is before we break it down, we're going to look at three ways, or the three questions. Now, how do we simplify three questions over two variables given by two people? How do we simplify that? How do we make it as simple as possible? We cheat. We cheat by making this the same question three times, but altering it slightly. What do we slightly alter them to? We take our neutral stance. How's it going? You might be like, what the fuck is he talking about? How's it going? Be honest with yourself. Are we winning? Are we losing? If you're asking something like this and you're asking it casually and calmly, you're probably in a neutral state. It's also, if you want to measure it out, a neutral state is whenever the resources are not giving anyone a clear advantage. We pick a question, and we break it down twice, just like we've done before, but we don't get rid of the first question. We take all three. We take the neutral state, and then we go, oh, what's better than a neutral state? What would you rather have? Advantage. Advantage is anytime you are ahead of your opponent due to resources gained within the previous time frame or just in the current state, right? If we're taking this as actions and we have 5 seconds, we can look at it 5 seconds by 5 seconds, but if we paused it here and we stared at it and it was longer than 5 seconds, we measured everything out, who's at advantage? If we looked at every detail, who's at advantage? And if there's a clear resource advantage, then one team is at advantage. They're winning. We want to make it us. That's what happens. When we're winning, it's easier to win. So we start winning. We are at advantage. But what if they have all of these other things? And, well, then, maybe it's a neutral state. We're back to that same spot. But, oh no, they have this thing. Disadvantage. Woohoo. Disadvantage. We're losing. Guys, lock it the fuck in. Disadvantage. You can take any disadvantage and turn it into these other two. These are steps. You can only go one step at a time, and it doesn't loop without external help or luck. Unknowns. So 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. From go to space 1 to space 3, it's going to take me 2 actions. It takes an action to go up or down. It's like a scale. You are here. You measure it here, and then, oh, we've dropped down to neutral. Well, don't worry. With 1 action, we can get it up. Goes wrong. All right, disadvantage. It took us 2 actions to bring us back down to disadvantage. It's going to take you. Guys, we're in this bad situation. I have a grenade. Throws grenade. Actually get someone who predicted that you predicted moving over to the other side, or something that you saw from previous. Using sight every single second, every single resource, to get some sort of moment, noticing your opportunity. Okay, using a grenade. Get someone. Oh, neutral state. Isolate the one, or push them out. We're talking about 1v1s here. Sorry. Throwing a grenade. Break some cover that they were playing behind, or stuns them because you thought they were going to run and you wanted to make sure when you were going to push up that was the smart way to utilize it. Neutral state. You take that bad spot, you flash them, now you're back here, you use some utility, used a resource, gained some value out of it. Positive trades, right? They're stunned, and they thought you were going the other way because you faked out and went to a different corner. Oh boy. Now you're at advantage. Now you're at advantage. So that's how we break it down into 3 different states. Advantage, neutral, disadvantage. That's our 3 questions. Are we at advantage? Are we at disadvantage? Are we in neutral? So we have a known. We have a known. We have 3 ways to break it down. I'm not even going to do that. Known, advantage. Known, neutral. Known, disadvantage. We're going to put these over here. And we're always looking at what is best. Then we have known, unknown. 3 different times. Applying that same question. Unknown, advantage. Unknown, neutral. Unknown, or known, unknown, disadvantage. I had to do it the other way around. My bad. Hold on, chat. Let's do this. Then we have just going to put this here for now so I don't forget it and don't mess it up, because I did mess it up just a second ago. You have your unknown, known at advantage. Yes, that does exist. In essence, someone runs around a corner. You don't see them. You do see where they're trying to get to. They're running past you. They want an objective behind you, something like that. So you know where they're going. You're at advantage. They're really weak from a fight they just took somewhere else. Unknown, known, advantage. Unknown, known, neutral, unknown, known, disadvantage. All these over here again. This is our 9, separated into 3. Separated into 3. This is the 9. Once you get to this part of the web, this part of the understanding, you can understand how to measure things. You can look at this and say what is good, what is bad. We can then quantify this into a 2-part segment. And we call it 2 because it will apply to the back end of the rule of this. But this is a 2-part. Ahead or behind. But of course, that wouldn't really be enough because we have 9 elements. So if this doesn't work, right, we're trying to simplify it. Number 1 rule, simplify. Create all ones. We have ahead, that's 1. Behind, that's another. It's still quite not enough, so we add 1 more, neutral. Notice anything? Whoa, it's like this. Ahead, behind, neutral. The best way to remember this part is, are you winning, son? Number 1 question that you can ask yourself at any 1 second. This right here is the holy grail of everything you need to know. Are you winning, son? It's a great question. And if you're not someone's son, are you winning? Simplify it even further. We're going to evaluate this. We're going to talk about examples of it. But we'll do it one thing at a time. Known advantage. We are doing X. They are doing Y. It's all going good. Yup. We are winning. This is good. We are ahead. This is plus. Should probably not do this. This is plus. This is a good thing. Equals and equals. Known, neutral. Yes, because we have 2 positive variables here. If you ever need help, this is, A is positive. Known is positive, right? Known, unknown is neutral. Unknown, known is negative, right? You can kind of look at that as a base modifier, and then you have plus, neutral, and negative. Your advantage is plus, your neutral is neutral, and your disadvantage is negative. Positive, positive, positive. Positive, positive, neutral. Positive, positive, negative. Still positive. We're still ahead. These are good things. Because we can always take the known factors and turn them into positive or neutrals or advantages. 1 step away, right? Known, unknown. Remember, these are all equal. Known, unknown, advantage, positive. Known, unknown, neutral, neutral. Neutral and neutral. But we would just get a very clear spectrum if we did this. Oh, it's a wave of how good is it? Not enough data. If we're asking 3 questions, we should be getting more answers. So, how do we change this up? Let's look at it more detail. Okay? Known, unknown, neutral. These 2 things are as neutral as it gets together, right? You can't ask for anything more neutral. This is kind of the bare minimum you can ask for. So we have 2 kind of neutrals that they don't cancel each other out, but they create a positive. This is good. These are good things. Known, unknown, and disadvantage, this is neutral. Because we know what we're going to do, and we got a mess in front of us. But, and we might not be at the best state, but it's not worse. Like, we couldn't We can't control these variables, these two parts. Remember, we really don't have control of. So it's neutral. Unknowns, you know, this positive step that we still see. It's kind of like a +1, and these are +2. +2 positives, because there's 2 positives there. This is 1, so you got a disadvantage. Now we're neutral. Unknown, known, unknown, neutral, unknown, known, neutral, unknown, known, disadvantage. This is just bad. We don't even have to. We can skip. We know this is the worst case scenario. This is as bad as it gets, so it's worst. We like if this is happening, this is the worst case scenario for us. Now you might be like, but unknown is nope. Because unknown, it doesn't matter what this is. They're all bad. We all know it's bad. But it's just unknown. We could turn it into a learning moment. But if we know what they're doing, we are wasting a positive here. Okay? Because this isn't like this isn't always just a positive. This is information. This is something that we can then use to create this. If we are not creating known knowns, we are just missing the point, because this information is always gatekept. There's always a sense of gatekeep. Well, not always, actually. I jumped the gun on that. In most shooters, this is something that you want. This is something that you're trying to acquire. And you're willing to make sacrifices here to acquire it. But in these moments where you know what your opponent's going to do, and you aren't making a better play for yourself, then you're wasting your time, right? So all of these, if you're at advantage and you're doing this, now you might mess it up. The first time you run into something, you have an unknown, you know what they're going to do, you're at advantage. That's more of a misread. That's more of you not understanding the situation better. Because this unknown, what it really does is kind of mask advantage. You can never trust if you're at advantage. Because if you don't know what's happening here, how can you really measure out what's happening here? It can be clear and obvious sometimes. If you're backed up against a pit with a dragon and 14 dudes with a wanted poster attached to their swords run after you, you're not in a good spot, right? You can tell when something's bad. But you know they want you, and you don't know how to get out of here. You don't know XYZ, right? That's just the worst case scenario. You could still survive this. This is still survivable. And even unknown unknowns are survivable, but this, even though it's the worst, you still have some sense of control. You have something here that is positive on this board that you can get out of, that you can get something out of. You have something to barter with. You have resources. So even if it's the worst state, you can do something. But if it's in an advantage state, if you have resources and you know that you have the advantage, and then you do it and you mess it up, reevaluate it. Really look back. This is where it's important to look back. But if you look back too much when you have all of this data, it becomes hindsight. Now, hindsight isn't inherently bad, but it's a very dangerous excuse. So never use it as an excuse. It's okay to look back. It's not okay to use looking back as an excuse. You look back as a tool. Unknown, known, neutral. This is actually okay. This is even. Unknown, known, advantage. If you're adaptable, right? If you're good at what you're doing, even though this could be the biggest waste of time, if you don't look back at it, like this is what I'm trying to say with this, and I may have said it wrong earlier. This is the juice of learning. This is where you have like 90% of the events that happened in these fights, in these moments, educational. This is where everything you don't know comes together and you can learn the most. This is where it's really at. Same with unknown, known, and neutral. Both of these are juicy. It's a neutral state. This is a positive state. But both of these, juice. This is where you want it. This is the squeeze. This is everything you're looking for. Best improvement. Best improve. Right there. So it might be, if you, like, this is why I'm so adamant. Don't waste this time. Right? This is the worst case scenario. Still can be juicy. But still, you know, the worst becomes this workable part. You'll know, by the way, if you want to know if you're good at a game, if you can consistently take this situation and turn it into one of these, that's high level. That's where you are winning. Because if you consider all 12 possible events, right? And let's clear all this off. All 12 possibilities. Hello? Why are we not? Oh, I guess I can't. The fuck? That is not. Oh, yeah, because I. Hold on. Wait. Flashbang. Oh, that's not good. If we take all possibilities and turn it into. What were we using? This is one. Yeah. If we take all possibilities, right? All 12. All 12 possibilities. Which is, we'll talk about the knowns. All these. And then all these. All 12 possibilities. Oh, wait, hold on. Lamau. I did UK. That's funny. Take all 12 of these. And if these are the only 3 that are bad, and all these are plus and these are minus, that's 75% of the time you are winning fights. And in a 1 versus 1 game, if you can control 75% of the outcome of 1 versus 1s, let me tell you, you are rocking it. Because by base stat, it's 50-50. If you were to roll these randomly, it's 50-50. But if you can turn that into a 75-25, it's not the same as winning every time, but it's winning every other time. That's the math, right? Because it's winning every time you should lose, and winning every other time you should lose. That's twice as good as you could ask for, right? Like it is so much better. or it's the not twice it was 50%, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you take the bad moments, these are all good by base, and these are all bad by base, and you can take these and make them good, right? You've taken half your problems and turned them into wins. It's insane. Like I hope you can just see how insane the amount you're winning is. Right? Now, how do we measure advantage? What's a tool that helps us measure this part? The 2-corner rule. God damn it, my bad. Flashbang out. 2-corner rule. 2 corners. You can apply this to every game. U, X, box, opponent, O. This is 1 corner. This is a piece of cover. Remember, these elements are determined by OBJ, the objective. This position, this box right here, the one I've got fucking 5 arrows around, this is all for the objective. That's all that matters. That's what we're playing for. We're trying to win here. So 1 corner. The boxes are a corner. X equals U. O equals them. Box equal corner. Flashbang out. One corner is all you can ask for, because you can only sit behind 1 corner. Your opponent is no different than you, so your opponent also gets 1 corner. At any given point, everything other than these 2 corners right here is all you give a shit about. Why? Because where is a winning position in a 1v1 with 0 corners? If they're facing this way and you're facing this way, you have their back. Why is the back what we want? Why is it back shots? Why back shots? Why do we want back shots, guys? Flashbang out. I gotta stop doing that. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. Why do we want them? Because they're nice? Yes. More importantly, they can't see you. They can't see you as a basis, not including any abilities, simplifying it down to the basics. They're back. They can't see you. Plus, when you turn around, if you're facing this way, if you're here and you're looking here, and there's something behind you, you have to turn one way or the other. This person can use this bit of momentum to where if you go this way, they go this way, and they still have your back. Disadvantage. If your back is exposed, you're at disadvantage. So, what's the opposite? Advantage. We have their back. They start turning this way. We go this way. We still have their back. We are taking advantage and turning it into advantage. When we have disadvantage, the arrow, by the way, I'm sure you don't have to. The arrow is where people can shoot you. This is line of sight, LOS. Arrows are LOS. And then the flat lines, this is back. This is like a goalpost in a way, right? So, disadvantage. We take that. They're shooting at us. We turn this way. They try to turn this way. We take disadvantage and we turn it into us facing each other. We are now looking at each other. This is neutral. There's also another neutral. I keep doing that, my bad. There's another neutral. There's looking at each other. And then there's back to back. Literally an equal sign. These are the 2 of 4 possibilities. This is where that 4, the 1, 4, 9. This is where this steps come into. Take that. Boom. 4 possibilities. Positive trade, neutral, neutral, negative. We don't need to simplify these down. That's as simple as it gets. We've taken 4 things and turned it into 3. Because there's 2 neutrals, but they have different reasonings. It's known, unknown, and unknown, known. It's still neutral. There's your 4. Again. So we take disadvantage, which is that 0 corner game, right? We're trying to simplify down to a 0 corner game. We have 2 corners, X, box, box, O, both facing this way. For the sake of this, we're going to do single lines because it'll be faster. Do I know the next action? That's the next question. If yes, known equals win. If I know what they can do or what they're doing, I know how to step closer to get to it. That's the knowledge checks. That's part of the games. That's understanding the mechanics of the games more. Sorry, my throat is really dry. So, if you know what to do, if they go this way, you know you can do many different things. What you want to do is simplify it to, can I take this advantage, right? Remember, when we're talking about like advantage situations like this, in this case, it'd be this, this, and this, or this, this. Like, can we take this and turn it into this? Next action. Can we move it into that? If we know they're doing this, can I step out at an odd timing and take shots, expecting them to be here? That's an example of moving it forward. Using known, neutral, and turning it to known advantage. Positive trades. Remember, we're trying to do more damage than they do to us. Let's say we don't know what they're going to do. All right. Fog of War it. Sorry, Fog of War them. You can't see this. All this, you can't see it. How do I get information? How do I make this unknown known? How do I do that? Best way to do this, sacrifice a resource. Move. What you're doing is you're sacrificing an action. Possibly. Or not sacrificing an action. You're using an action. Not sacrificing. You are using an action. You are moving with the anticipation that there will be a fight. and you check one corner at a time. You check, is this corner safe? This one right in front of me, that little box's corner, is this right here safe? If no, fight. If yes, continue on. You know, there's your action. There's your information. Now that we've done that, we've moved from one corner. We have checked the one corner. And the fog of war has shifted. And we can see this. Or no, we can see this. And when I say we can see this, I mean we can't see it. Not quite yet. Because now the fog of war is shifted like this. Because we have moved from here to here. We're now here. It's a bit wide, but you know, trying to get information here. We don't see them yet. But we have taken 3 potential options, right? If they're playing 2 corners away, see, this is like where this is the title card moment. If they're playing 2 corners away, by eliminating one, they must be at the other. It's kind of a bad example of be like here. We've moved here. We can see all this. You know, that's what's creating this line of sight, this fog of war. But we've cut this one corner off. So they are either here, here, or here. They're either here, here, or here, you know, in this area. This is where that next step of variance comes in. We only think 2 corners at a time. Now, if we clear it, what do? We've cleared the whole bit of cover. Wow, we have taken a corner plus resource. Because this is safe. As far as we know, an assumption in a 1v1, this is still safe. Because they can't have crossed, we'd have seen it. So they are not here. We know they're not here. We can move forward. We have taken the corner. If we push from here to here, and we still don't see them. You know, this is the only bit of cover that we haven't checked out, is this right here. A little bit more on the path to literally any other thing that is this, we will be able to check it out again. So we've taken 2 corners, 2 steps, and we've cleared and doubled our space. There we go. Highly effective. If we have doubled a resource, 2x resource, in 2 actions, plus their starting action, we have 2 extra resource. I did it again. God damn it. 2x resource. Jesus. For 3 actions. $66 value per action. You know, 67. We have taken 50% as a base line of thinking of anything we do as a coin flip, being in a 1v1, the base percentage we start at, and turned it into 67%. Boom. Plus, this is basic fundamentals. This is using every step at every moment, gaining value. If you can gain that resource, because you have to remember in these fights, right, if we're taking a corner, right, and this is a neutral stance, a true neutral stance, we're facing each other. No matter what happens with this corner, we're at advantage. If they're there, we're prepared for it. We take the fight plus advantage. Okay? If they're not there and they run away, they're gone, then you're back to back. Neutral. Or if they're trying to run away and it's not a place they can run to, you're shooting their back. Plus advantage. That's advantage. Right? We've taken full neutral and won it. Now, what do we do in reverse? That's winning. That was winning. Winning is good. Winning W. Right? We like that. I fucking did it again. Winning is massive. Yes. But you have to remember, there were all those different states. So, how do we take disadvantage, turn it into winning? Because you have to remember, that's just 66%. 67%. We have up to 75% available if we have this much measurement. How do we get there? Disadvantage into wins. We've looked at neutral, and as long as you can get anything to neutral, you can win it. Winning is being at those advantage corners, like by explaining the winning from neutral, we've covered 2 of those. How do we go from disadvantage to winning? Disadvantage means what again? Being shot in the back. This is disadvantage. How do we take this and turn it into this? Well, in the same way that we cleared cover, we can use cover. We use the neutrals. We use the things that we have the resources around us for. We use the one thing we have, or we don't have. Or no, not that we don't have. One thing we always have, because as long as you're always playing by cover, you always have an area to play off of. By doing this, you keep yourself always available to turn around fights. Because let's say you're trying to peek this corner. You start getting back shots. You don't know what's coming from. What does this sound like? Known, unknown, disadvantage. What do we know? We have cover. What don't we? What else do we know? We're being shot in the back. We know it's coming from behind us. We know it's coming from a bad spot. Because we know that, how's it going, right? Remember those questions that we were asking. Are you, like, what do we know? And are you winning, son? Do we know? Into are you winning? There we go. If you're not winning, disadvantage. How's it going? If you don't know, you don't know. So, where's it coming from? You know, whatever is being affected. Why is it happening? We don't know. Boom. What do we do? 2 options. You actually always have 3. But one of them is, in this situation, when you have known unknowns, One is always bad. 3 options. 1 loses. Okay, so we don't do it. So it's 3 minus 1. 2 options. What are our 2 options? Run, fight. Fight means we are taking trades. We're trying to work in this column. Run means we're trying to work in this column because running gets us information. Plus info. Plus status. Right, we'll consider this status. The status of the fight. Or plus condition, I think would probably be a better word. So we are taking either information or status. The other one is freezing or passing our turn, passing our action. Because we're always using our actions. Going back to that first step, we're always using our actions. So what do? How do we guarantee that we get to that position regardless? Turn around. Turn around. Why do we turn around? Because that's how we stop getting shot in the back. We're moving the goal away. We're moving their objective. Remembering objectives again. We're changing their objective by doing what we can, moving ourselves. So we turn around. We go from this to this. Or from this into this. This one's run. This one's fight. If you're looking to fight, you're looking to change the status. If you're looking to run, you're looking to gain info. We're gaining info by turning around. We're changing our bearings and changing our objective to figure out how the fight's going, to answer this, to figure out this question, right? Or to an attempt to gain this. Fighting can do the same thing because when you turn around, your eyes passively gain the information. You're using something you know, what you see, and determining these 2 parts. Running and fighting do both. Doing both, running and fighting, will net you positive results. Did it again. Running, more info, plus info, neutral, or plus minus status. Fighting, when done correctly, if you know you are confident enough taking the fight and you are in a position where you can fight, you're ready for it, something that you've been thinking about with your actions before. So if you get shot in the back, you are then ready for it. You're taking this and making it plus minus info plus status. We are focusing on gaining status. We're focusing on gaining in that 3rd column rather than that 2nd column with fighting. And running, we're gaining in that 2nd fighting column rather than fighting. We're looking at the 3rd column. I think I said that right. I don't know. Trying to write and say things out loud is difficult for me. But this is the intro. This has been an hour and a half already. I think I've covered everything I really want to start covering. with the whole three corners thing, with the running and fighting, taking disadvantage, right? By taking this, we are taking one of these variables and turning it into a neutral state. That is the goal. The objective of taking disadvantage is to move it into neutral. That's what we're trying to do. And by doing all of this, we can go back to a neutral state. By getting into a neutral state, we can then figure out how to win and turn the fight. And that is part 1 of 4. This is the intro. It's the intro to it. Remember, what are we going to break down further into detail? We are going to talk about in much greater detail scenarios, part 2. Scenarios. What are we going to do with scenarios? How to figure it out. AKA adding objective. Adding the objective really is the second part. The third part is adding knowledge checks. Part 3. Knowledge checks. What I'll be doing in knowledge checks is I will be trying to apply understandings of knowledge checks and how to get them. How to learn. In essence, how do you look at a game and a game state, VOD reviewing it. That's another good way to say it, VOD reviewing. Because we're trying to make ourselves as effective as possible. 100% uptime is our goal of learning. So rule number 1, simplify. So how are we going to simplify? We have to do it even to the knowledge checks. How do we get known knowns better? How do we secure known knowns? So yeah, part 3. Securing. How do you secure wins? And then part 4. Embracing the chaos. Part 4. Unknown unknowns all the way through. This is probably the most recent element of all the studying I've done. This is the stuff that, like, after, when you get to, like, I want to say about 2K hours in a game. $2K hours plus, you're looking at part 4. To give you an idea of, like, what level of experience. And 2K hours of like, lock in. Being in that motherfucker the whole time. Looking at every detail, observing every detail, creating every detail. That's where part 4 really starts coming in. Because you're looking at the unknowns and how to prepare for the unknowns and how to turn the unknowns into the biggest wins of your life. Because if you can do that, if you can take that 75% just from knowing your fundamentals, right? The last 25%, adaptability. That equals 100% uptime. So part 4 is being adaptable, embracing the chaos, looking at the unknown and how to react to it using other rules and other questions. Thank you so much for watching today. Hour and a half. I really, really hope this turned out well. I'm hesitant to say it did because I haven't looked at it, but it doesn't matter. This is going to be posted immediately to YouTube. If you are on YouTube, first off, hi. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Like, sub, follow on Twitch. If you are on Twitch, again, this time we're leaning more towards buy. Hello again, and thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to follow the YouTube. Follow the YouTube for me, please. I'm going to try to post a lot more YouTube videos. I'm going to do this, obviously, the 4-part series. And I'm just going to play some games, try to get high elo and a few more, and really enjoy my time. I can't be certain what's next, but I can be absolutely certain we're going to make the most of it. That's what I've been doing for 15,000 hours. The grind doesn't stop. And, hopefully you'll learn more about me with other games and such that I've coached in the past. Videos I've made and such. I might go through the library and figure that out. Follow YouTube. And if you're on if you are on Twitch right now and you're not following, follow. Sub if you want. Bits if you want. You don't have to. I would like to make this my living. I want to make this a better place for everyone. I believe rising tides raise all ships. This is ultimately for everyone else. The things that I've learned, I'm just trying to share it all. So both of you, YouTube and Twitch, please share this with a friend. Save it to a thing that you might listen to again later. If you're at work, you might want to listen to this. If you need something to sleep to, you might want to listen to this. I don't know. I don't know why you're here, why you're listening, but try to invite a friend. I want to just help out as many people as I can. I also want to grow my platform. It's a win-win. And frankly, after today, I think win-wins for you and for me. These are positive trades for both of us. So why not? Love you all. Thank you so much again. Stay well. Stay safe. 07.